of George Bush. We'll be discussing that with John today. John is a peace activist, a writer, a lecturer, an ex-CIA agent, and now a prominent critic of the CIA, who currently is working on 2 books, one on the Vietnam War and another on the arms race. He's also been commissioned by Oliver Stone to write a screenplay about Central America and has been very busy lecturing, traveling around the country, and doing research since we last saw him on Alternative Views. So welcome back, John.
My pleasure. And it looks like our crew didn't show up, so I'm going to have to do a camera operator for all 3 cameras as well as participate in this.
Okay, well, jump in whenever you feel like it.
Man of many talents.
Right.
It's just like in the old days.
So, John, I think everyone is concerned about what the election of George Bush will mean for American foreign and domestic policy and what a Bush presidency would be like. We're currently in the period, the honeymoon period, where all the media are just celebrating him, being nice to him. All the politicians are snookering up to him. So let's give a critical perspective on the Bush presidency that we really haven't heard from our corrupt mainstream media.
It's a tough one. This is, of course, the calm before the storm, perhaps. We have so little to go on. The man's been a vice president, politician. The responsible people say, give him a break, let's wait and see what he does. My own position, and then they say, well, he is such a chameleon, but he could go either way, so to speak. And they point out that he was historically more moderate than Reagan, who has always had a wild hair up his nose. But I personally am more of the school that I believe we do know a lot about this man. In fact, we know some things about him that are much more significant and frightening than what we knew about Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was, of course, a committed conservative who was known to have a slightly defective mind. Who had
proved that was the case.
And proved it and lived up to and had some harsh policies when he was governor of California. But Bush, the CIA directorship where he made these contacts, I worked for him. You know, I witnessed personally his supervising the CIA's covering up of illegal activity at the end of the Angola operation in early 1976. And he was actually fending off a hostile Congress. Instead of investigating and firing the perpetrators of crimes, he was fending off the FBI and the Congress on at least 3 or 4 major CIA criminal activities.
What were those activities?
Well, one was the Angolan operation, where we had broken a number of laws, much like the Iran-Contra and the Bolan kind of laws. And then we had conspired to cover up the breaking of the laws. And I mean, literally, we sat around the big oak tables and discussed the law. We went down to the library and read up on the law. And then things like, I remember one session reminding the boss, you know, don't contradict yourself. Last week you said, you know, don't contradict yourself. This week, if Senator so-and-so brings up a certain issue. And this one, he just plowed right into that one. And he was just telling the Senate, you know, the Congress, I don't know, I wasn't here, but I'm sure that I just find it very difficult to believe, but we'll look into it thoroughly. If you'll just give me some slack. And he was reassuring them. And with you know, him patting him on the head, they backed off and just never got back to it. He was also doing the same thing about the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, which was being investigated in that cycle. And also the Chilean operation, the killing of, you know, the Track 1, Track 2 ouster and killing of Salvador Allende in Chile. And he was fending off an investigation of that. In the FBI stuff, the Justice Department was investigating some of the mercenaries who had been involved in the CIA's Angola program. And they were asking us specifically which ones had worked for us and in what capacities. And a young attorney showed up from the General Counsel's office responding to Bush's supervision policies, and actually went through my files and purged documents that he thought would be legally incriminating if we were subpoenaed, you know, if we were investigated. And all of that was a thorough indication of Bush's policies as I witnessed them. Beyond that, we have an incredible